Hello students. So in last video we learned about the process of photosynthesis. In that we see the process of photosynthesis has two steps, that is light reactions and dark reactions. Okay. So I will just review the portion of light reaction which we have covered in last video, right? So see that this type of box we have seen in last lecture, in which this is the part we called it as stroma. Okay, this is the stroma. Remember, the fluid that is present inside the chloroplast, it is called as stroma, and this part we called it as lumen. Okay, now this is the space or the fluid that is present inside the thylakoid. So I will just review this. What was happening here in light reaction? The light that is entering into the chloroplast will first reaches to the photosystem second. Okay, and with the entering light, some resonance will be there, and this resonance will cause the electrons which are present at this photosystem second. This resonance will cause that electron to go to the excited state, right? Now I have written here in PS second, that is photosystem second, as 680. Okay, so this photosystem second, it is also called as P680 system. Okay, why this is so? Because this photosystem second, it absorbs the light of the wavelength of 680 nanometer. Okay, while photosystem first, it best absorbs the light of 700 nanometer wavelength, right? So now this photon when reaches here, due to the resonance, they are causing the electrons, they are getting in excited state, that means higher energy state. Okay, so what is happening here now? The electrons that were already present, they were getting released from here, from this lumen. Okay, you may say them from this lumen. So they are getting released from here. Now it is necessary to replenish them. Okay, so in order to replace this released electron, what is happening at photosystem second is the most essential thing, that is the oxidation of water. In last video I told you that the oxidation of water is very much complex, as oxygen is very electronegative, right? So this photosystem second is the site where oxidation of water takes place. Now this is again important, that oxidation of water takes place in only non-cyclic event. Okay, what is non-cyclic event? We will come to that later. Okay, so now this water which is getting oxidized, so it will release the oxygen. Okay, and it will replace the electrons that are releasing from this PS second. Okay, now these electrons, in last video I have told you that these electrons will travel from one component to another component, and while doing so they will lose their energy. Okay, this energy will cause these protons to pump it into the lumen from stroma. So these protons will enter from stroma to the lumen. Okay, now how exactly this happens, that describe this diagram. Okay, so now see here, this electron which is hooked with this hydrogen, that means which is present in this water, it is very compatible with water. This electron is very compatible with water. Okay, and that's why we say that water is very difficult to oxidize. Now as it comes to chlorophyll A, that means the photon light is first entering into the chloroplast. Okay, and in chloroplast there are various photosynthetic pigments, and majority of photosynthesis is performed by this chlorophyll A. That means chlorophyll A is having very important role in the process of photosynthesis. So now these photons, when it enters to this chlorophyll E or chlorophyll A, okay, these electrons are getting, see this chlorophyll A, this is the complete process. This is up to this plastocyanin. This complete process is happening at PS second, because our electrons or our photons, they are first reaching to the photosystem second only. Okay, So we are seeing the components of this photosystem second now, which through which components these electrons will traverse one by one, that we are going to see. So now this chlorophyll A, here this photon will reach and it will cause some resonance. Due to this resonance energy, this electron will go to the excited state, which is the higher energy state. Right? Now from this chlorophyll A, this electron will travel to next component, that is called as pheophytin. Okay? Now while doing so, this electron is losing some energy. See, again it is traveling next to the plastoquinine. Okay? So from chlorophyll A to pheophytin, from pheophytin to plastoquinine to cytochrome B6F complex, and to that plastocyanine. This is for PS second. So this transport of the electron causes that electron to lose some energy. Okay? Now what will happen here? See, we started from this state, right? We started from this state. That means electron which was present initially, what as this it was at this energy state, right? Now as we reaches to this chlorophyll, that means when we are entering into the PS first, photosystem first, that means electrons finally they will travel, see here, they will travel from here, from one component to another component, one component to another component, and while doing so they are losing energy, and finally they are going to reach to the photosystem first. Here again, at the photosystem first, they will again get the energy, okay, and they will again go to the excited state. Okay, now in photosystem first, this electron will travel through chlorophyll, and ferridoxine. Now NADP plus is there, which is the final electron acceptor, but this is only in case of non-cyclic event. This is in only case of non-cyclic event. That means in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, this NADP plus is the final electron acceptor, and when it will accept the electron, it will get converted into NADPH. Okay, so now this whole process is happening. In this way, these electrons are traveling from one component to another component, right? Why this electron transport has been possible? It is due to this light energy or due to this photon. So the energy that is required to happen this process is actually coming from this light energy or from photon. Okay, now finally what is going to synthesize in light reaction, right? So in light reaction, we yesterday we told that we will get ATP and NADPH. Okay, these both are the energy carrying molecule. These both are the energy carrying molecule. Now see here, as we are using light energy, that means the energy which is coming from photon, which is performing the addition of phosphate group to the ADP. Okay, these photons, this energy which is coming from photon, it is adding this inorganic phosphate to the ADP, and then we are getting this ATP. Okay, so addition of phosphate group is phosphorylation, and this is happening due to the photon, and that's why it is called as photophosphorylation. Here inorganic phosphate is getting added to ATP, and then this ADP, and then this ADP is getting converted into ATP. That means one inorganic phosphate is getting added to ADP, and this is happening due to the energy coming from photons. So it is called as photophosphorylation, right? Now this photophosphorylation, it can happen in two ways, right? It is cyclic photophosphorylation, it can be, or it may be non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Now what is cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation? All of us know that when we talk about the cycle, okay, any cycle, so cycle means the reuse, okay. So here the electrons that are releasing from this PS second, what will happen in cyclic photophosphorylation? This electron will not finally get accepted by this NADP plus, rather it will come back to this chlorophyll A. Okay, so there will be no need to replace the electron, and that's why in cyclic photophosphorylation there will be no oxidation of water. There will be no oxidation of water. So oxygen will not get released if there will be the cyclic photophosphorylation, right? Because here there is not need to replace the electrons, because all these electrons they are coming back to the photosystem second again, right? And in cyclic photophosphorylation, only as there is no oxidation of water is taking place, only ATP will get synthesized. Okay, so what will be the product of cyclic photophosphorylation? Only ATP. Only ATP will get generated, because electrons they are not getting accepted by the NADP plus. Okay, exactly opposite to this is the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. In non-cyclic photophosphorylation, these electrons which are in higher energy state, see we are started from here, and while reaching to the PS first, this electron is already at higher energy state. Okay, and finally when it is going back to the NADP plus, means when NADP plus is going to accept that electron, it is at again higher energy state. So we started from this state, now electron is already in this higher state, right? So in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, this electron will not come back, right? This will not happen in non-cyclic photophosphorylation. This electron rather will get accepted by NADP plus. It will get accepted by this NADP plus, and NADP plus will get converted into NADPH after accepting the electron. So in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, it is necessary to replace the electrons that are getting released from here, from photosystem second. Okay, so it is necessary to replace that electrons, original electrons, and that's why in non-cyclic photophosphorylation there will be the oxidation of water. Oxidation of water will be there, right? I will cover some oxidation and reduction. There is one simpler way to remember this oxidation and reduction. What is actually oxidation and reduction? Now you can remind these words: oil rig. Okay, keep in your mind always oil rig. These both words. Oil, it stands for oxidation is loss of electron. Okay, oxidation is loss of electron, while rig, RIG, it is reduction is gaining of electron. Okay, when we are talking about or in terms of electron, then oxidation is loss of electron and reduction is gain of electron. Oil rig, you can simply remember this. So water, when we are saying that it is getting oxidized, that means it is losing electron, and these electrons are replacing these original electrons which are released from here by the resonance energy that is caused by the photons. Okay, so in non-cyclic photophosphorylation there will be always oxidation of water. So oxygen will be there, oxygen will get released like this. We have shown it here. Okay, and what are the products of non-cyclic photophosphorylation? ATP will obviously there. ATP, it is the product or byproduct of both the cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. But along with ATP in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, NADPH will also get synthesized or also get formed, right? Because NADP plus is accepting the, or it is acting as the final electron acceptor in the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. So this electron is not coming back, and that's why we called it as non-cyclic photophosphorylation. So the byproducts of non-cyclic photophosphorylation will be ATP and NADPH. Along with oxygen is getting released. Okay. So here I will summarize the light reaction part of the photosynthesis. Okay. Now we will move on to the next part of the photosynthesis, that is dark reaction. It is also called as Kelvin cycle. Okay. So yesterday I told about the dark reaction, that dark reaction that does not means they occur at night. It is the only thing that dark reaction do not depend upon the light, they do not need the light to happen. That's why we can call it as light independent reaction also. Okay. Now what are the products of light reaction that are entering into the dark reaction? It are obviously ATP and NADPH. Both these molecules are high energy carrying molecule, ATP and NADPH. This we got from this light reaction. Okay. Now by utilizing these products of the light reaction, dark reaction or Kelvin cycle will run. Okay. Obviously one very important component will enter there, and that is carbon dioxide, CO2. This will enter. Okay, carbon dioxide. This will enter because it will act as the source of carbon further to synthesize our carbohydrate. Now what is happening here in dark reaction, this CO2, I have written it as 6CO2 and I have given the numbers. Actually it is not needed, that numbers are not needed, but just I have given it for your better understanding. Okay. Now see here, 6CO2, that means 6 molecules of carbon dioxide are there. Okay, which is having this carbon dioxide, CO2 is having 1 carbon with it. Then it will react with the one special molecule that is present, that is RUBP, ribulose biphosphate, or you can say it as ribulose 1,5 biphosphate. Okay, this phosphate group is attached to the first carbon and fifth carbon. This is the 5 carbon compound. 5 carbon compound. See here, you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one phosphate is attached to first carbon, and another phosphate group is attached to the fifth carbon. So it can be called as ribulose 1,5 biphosphate. Okay, so ribulose biphosphate and carbon dioxide, they will react together, and this will be catalyzed by the enzyme, very essential enzyme, Rubisco. See here, I have written Rubisco. Rubisco is ribulose biphosphate carboxylase. Here we have seen the phosphorylation. Now here we are seeing the carboxylation. Addition of carbon. Here addition of phosphate we have seen. Here addition of carbon. See, the carbon from carbon dioxide is going to add with this RUBP molecule, and we will get 12 molecules. See, 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of RUBP. 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of carbon dioxide. They are going to come together. Carboxylation will be there, which is facilitated by Rubisco. Obviously, energy will require. That energy will come from this product of the light reaction, that is ATP and NADPH. 12 ATP will be utilized, and 12 it will get converted into 12 ADP plus 12 inorganic phosphate. Similarly, 12 NADPH will get utilized, and they will get converted into 12 NADP plus. Now these 6 carbon dioxide and 6 RUBP molecule, when they are coming together, they will form 12 molecule of pGal. They are going to form 12 molecule of pGal, or you can say it as G3P, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate or phosphoglyceraldehyde, which is 3 carbon compound. It is having 3 carbon in it. To the third carbon, one phosphate group is attached. Okay. Now see here, how many carbons are there, and that's why I have written these numbers. See, in 6 molecules of RUBP there are 30 carbons. Okay, and here there are in 6 carbon dioxide molecules there are 6 carbon. So total 36 carbons are there, right? And this pGal, it is the 3 carbon compound. And how many molecules of pGal are going to form? 12 molecules. Okay, so 12 into 3, you will get 36 carbon, right? and that's why I have taken here numbers for the better understanding. So 12 pegyl molecules are getting formed here. Okay, so now our carbon, they are fixed, which is the gaseous form. Initially they were into the gaseous form. So fixation of this gaseous carbon dioxide or carbon into the solid structure is called as carbon fixation. So this gaseous carbon, it is going to fix into the solid structure. Solid structure obviously is first pegyl G3P, and after that carbohydrates will be there. So this is called as carbon fixation. Okay. Now next, what will happen here? This 12 pegyl molecule. Okay. This from this 12 pegyl molecule or 12 G3P molecule, 10 G3P or 10 pegyl molecule, they will again go back to make 6 molecule of RUDP. Okay. Remember, RUDP is the 5 carbon compound. It is, and in order to resynthesize this RUDP, 6 molecule of RUDP, how many carbon will be required? 30 carbon will be required. Okay. So see, pegyl is having 3 carbon. That means it is 3 carbon compound. And how many molecules are going back? 10 molecules are going back. That means 30 carbons are here also. And they will again resynthesize this RUDP molecule. Okay. So that's why we call this as a cycle, because what is we are taking, we are giving it back, and that's why it is the cycle. Okay. Now what will happen to the rest of pegyl molecule? And rest of pegyl molecule, here I mean only 2 pegyl we are left with. We are left with only 2 pegyl molecule or 2 G3P molecule. Now 2 pegyl or 2 G3P can form, see, 1 pegyl or 1 G3P molecule is having 3 carbons. So 2 pegyl molecule can synthesize 1 molecule of glucose. So here C6H12O6, glucose will get synthesized. Not necessarily glucose, it can again elongate and can form polysaccharides. Okay. So here just I have taken the example of glucose. So in this way, the synthesis of carbohydrate takes place, and that process we called it as photosynthesis, right? So here we are done with the photosynthesis. Now in next video we will talk about the respiration, what we are going to do with this carbohydrates, right? Thank you.